Imagine growing up with the entire world watching your face, waiting for you to become someone else. When your mother is a highly scrutinized cultural icon, the public expects a sequel. Today, we are looking at how Dannielynn Birkhead flipped a 19-year media narrative on its head. Look at this portrait of Anna Nicole Smith. With her signature blonde curls, red lipstick, and pink roses, this peak glamour image etched into public memory. For nearly 2 decades, the tabloid press pointed their lenses at her daughter, Dannielynn, waiting for her to inevitably step into her mother's Hollywood shoes. For years, the imagery fed to the public fit perfectly into a curated mold. We saw her grow up wearing bright, innocent dresses and headbands. That public expectation was seemingly validated as she entered her teens. She began attending events wearing her mother's actual archival clothing, including the same jewelry and gowns worn years prior. When the world views a child through the lens of a replica, every fashion choice becomes a point of comparison. According to Larry Birkhead, the public was constantly watching to see if Dannielynn would wear something connected to her mother. To understand how she navigated this, we have to look at the highly unusual parenting strategy designed by her father, Larry Birkhead. High-profile celebrity children usually spend their formative years dodging aggressive paparazzi. It is a toxic, high-speed chase that rarely stops. Birkhead's solution was a strict one-day-a-year rule, restricting media access almost entirely, using the Kentucky Derby as her sole sanctioned public appearance. By artificially controlling the supply of images, he stripped away the element of surprise. The strategy killed the paparazzi chase because the tabloids knew exactly when and where they would get their photos. This controlled exposure allowed them to navigate her childhood on their own terms, completely insulated from the usual Hollywood machine. Because the Derby served as the only public update zone, it became the singular metric the world used to measure Dannielynn's growth against their expectations. Which brings us to the 2026 Kentucky Derby. After 19 years of historical expectations for a blonde pastel aesthetic, Dannielynn arrived at Churchill Downs with a complete style transformation. She traded the bright colors for a dark, gothic-inspired outfit. She debuted a platinum pixie cut with jet black tips, embracing a style she described as her life's goal to look like a vampire. She stated this new look was intended to help her be known as her own person. She chose to break this spitting image mold to claim her own agency over her appearance. As a parent, Larry admitted he spent the salon appointment bracing himself. But he actively supported her autonomy, letting her pick out his lightning bolt suit so they could walk the red carpet as a unified gothic rock duo. This shift moved the focus away from the historical narrative the media had prepared for her. It forced the public to reconcile their expectations with the reality of her own choices. But her most significant pivot happened off the red carpet when she finalized her choice of college major. She enrolled to study forensic science and criminal studies. She chose a path grounded in academics, stepping far outside the lines of the entertainment industry. This interest grew from a childhood spent watching Dateline true crime specials with her father, sparking a deep, analytical fascination with solving cases. She also mentioned an interest in culinary arts and baking. She is actively pursuing a life defined by her own interests, rather than the celebrity culture her mother inhabited. Her rejection of the Hollywood spotlight is a calculated choice. She is charting a life defined by investigation and privacy, rather than physical appearance and public scrutiny. Dannielynn hasn't rejected her mother's memory. She embraces the physical comparisons, stating she loves her mom and feels flattered to be told she is pretty like her. She is establishing a clear boundary, asking to be recognized as an individual student. She wants the public to see Dannielynn, a person with her own path, rather than a continuation of her mother's story. Having wrapped up her first semester of college, she plans to retreat from the spotlight. She intends to focus on her friends, her studies, and her own private life. Larry Birkhead's media limits served their purpose. By restricting her exposure to a single day each year, he provided the space she needed to develop her own identity without being consumed by the tabloid cycle. Dannielynn honors her mother's legacy by building a life of her own. She is utilizing the freedom her father protected to live a completely independent, private life.